Hi, welcome to today's vlog, which is about my Botox. I'm due to have my Botox in a couple of hours. It's for migraines. I've suffered from migraines for about 20 years now. I suffer from all different types of headaches, and I've been diagnosed with all different types of headaches, and diagnoses have changed over the years. When I was younger, sort of when my headaches first started, I was told that my headaches were caused by an addiction to paracetamol, so I wasn't allowed to take paracetamol for a while. It turned out that I wasn't addicted to paracetamol. I was genuinely getting terrible headaches. I am lucky enough to suffer from lots of different types of headaches. So I have chronic migraines, chronic tension headaches, just chronic headaches in general. Yeah, I get lots of different types of headaches. I keep a headache diary, and it's very rare that I don't have a day where I don't have a headache. I manage it as best I can with pills, painkillers. I take migraine tablets called rizatriptan. Those only work if you can catch your migraine at the point of your trigger. So as soon as you start to get your triggers, you take the pill and it's supposed to curb the migraine. My migraines tend to occur first thing in the morning. I tend to wake up with them, so I've missed the trigger because I've been asleep. So it's not always that great. My biggest migraine triggers, so I know when I'm going to get one, is I feel really sick, I feel very hot, very sweaty, and then I completely lose my peripheral vision. If that's ever happened to you, you will know how weird it is to lose your peripheral vision, and as soon as that hits, I know I'm done for. I'm done for the day, I'm done for the next couple of days, because if you suffer from migraines, you know that you get what I like to call a migraine hangover. So after your migraine is done and dusted, you've got a hangover from it. I personally feel sick, I'm tired, I've got no energy, I can barely move for sort of another 24 hours. So my headaches really affect me. I've managed them really well over the last couple of years, but recently they seem to have gotten a lot worse. I'm getting migraines a lot more, I'm getting chronic headaches that I can't shift, that last for days a lot more, so it's been a bit of a nightmare. So my consultant, my neurologist, finally agreed to let me have Botox. Now, Botox for migraines is a relatively new thing. I don't know a lot about it. I'm talking to you at the moment before my appointment. So after I've had my appointment and had the Botox this afternoon, hopefully I'll be able to tell you a bit more about it. Migraines technically probably aren't classed as a disability, although you should know that headaches and migraines are covered under the Disability and Equality Act. So if your workplace are trying to fob you off, don't let them, because this can be covered by the Equality Act. My workplace is really good about my migraines. They're quite understanding. You tend to find that people that have had migraines or suffer from migraines are a lot more understanding. People don't realise how debilitating a headache, a bad migraine can really be. I'm not in the best of health anyway. My disability affects me in a lot of ways. It's affecting me more so at the moment. So adding headaches in on the top of that can be really stressful. Stress itself then is a trigger for my migraines. I get very bad stress headaches. I also get relief headaches. So I tend to get headaches on a Friday evening. So I've worked all week, finish work on a Friday, and my whole body untenses. This then for me causes a massive migraine. It's really weird. My other sort of things that can trigger a migraine for me are smells, strong smells. Now, strong smells don't always affect me, and it's more when I'm run down. So if my husband sprays aftershave, that can set a migraine off. If I'm in work and somebody sprays body spray, sometimes that can set a migraine off, and that has happened before. And once that migraine's in and the medication isn't going to work, my rizatriptan's not going to do anything, that's it, I'm done. I can then spend sort of up to an hour sweating, really hot, unable to control my body temperature, throwing up, being generally really nauseous and unwell, and the only thing I can do is just lie down, close my eyes and hope that it goes. I haven't really got anything to gauge this appointment on. There's so little information about it online because it is quite a new thing in the NHS. So there's a lot of speculation out there. There have been, obviously, clinical trials have proved that it can work. We're hoping that it's going to work for me. But at the moment, I'm really nervous. I don't know if it's going to hurt. I don't know if it's going to be the most painful thing ever. I don't know. I've never had needles jabbed in. That's my cat. I've never had needles jabbed into my head before. So I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if it's going to hurt. I don't know how I'm going to feel after. I don't know if I'm going to have an expressionless face for the next however long Botox lasts for. So with that in mind, wish me luck and I'll see you later. So I am back from my Botox injections. The nurse explained first of all sort of a little bit about it, about how Botox for migraines came about. So I can now tell you, it came about in America first when women that were having Botox were reporting to their doctors that they were no longer getting migraines. So they did some clinical trials and some tests, and it turns out that Botox can block the nerves that cause migraines. Fantastic news. So the nurse explained that 33% of women find the Botox really beneficial after the first treatment. Another 33% of women find it beneficial after the second treatment. And 33% of women don't find any success from it at all. So we're going to wait and see which category I fall into. Now, because it was a surgical procedure, I had to sign a consent form. The consent form basically says the name of the procedure, which is Botox for chronic migraines. The intended benefits are to improve migraines. The serious and frequently occurring risks she explained to me are bleeding, but only superficial bleeding, because obviously you're piercing the skin. And I did have a little bit of bleeding on my forehead. It has now stopped, so that's really good. There's obviously a risk of infection because, again, you're penetrating the skin. And other side effects can include neck ache, and the sort of more serious one is it's called ptosis. Ptosis is basically a droopy eye, so the nerves can sort of be affected and you can end up with a droopy eye. So far, so good. I don't have one, but apparently it's not permanent. It goes away. It lasts, I assume, as long as the Botox does. My next treatment will be in 3 months' time, and I may find by the time that 3 months comes up that the Botox has worn off and my migraines have started to come back. So we'll wait and see. So I signed the consent form and she proceeded to inject me in the face. So she did my forehead, the sides of my face, all down here, the top of my head, the back of my head, my neck, the sides of my neck, the back of my neck, and sort of here on my shoulders. There were 31 injections in total. It wasn't completely painless. I expected it to be a lot more painful than it was. Hi bees. I expected it to be a lot more painful than it was. The injections around my face were painful, and on the sides of my face were painful. The most painful ones were the ones sort of in the back of my neck and here. The ones on my head I didn't really notice too much. At the moment, I can still wrinkle my forehead. It takes a few days for the toxins to settle into your head, to move around. I've been advised not to wash my hair for 24 hours or touch my face or put pressure on my face for 24 hours because you can move the Botox and the toxins in the Botox from where they're supposed to be and from where they're going to do the most good. Over the next few days it'll all spread out under my skin and into my muscles, and hopefully it will start to do the job. So I will check back in a couple of days' time to let you know how I'm going and if I've had any improvement yet. So fingers crossed, and I'll see you soon. So it's been a couple of days since I had my Botox injections. I'm sad to say it hasn't completely cured my headaches. I mean, I didn't think that it would, because it's sort of really only designed for migraines and the type of pain that you get from migraines. Yesterday I had a really bad headache, really bad, one of my worst ones. and I've got a headache again this morning. But headaches and migraines are very different things, unfortunately, so what cures one may not cure the other. I haven't had a migraine yet, touch wood, so it remains to be seen whether this treatment has worked. Today I did have a very bad headache, which wasn't great, which wasn't at all fun. It wasn't quite a migraine. I didn't really get any triggers for it. I just had a very bad headache, and I couldn't really do anything for the day. So this Botox treatment clearly hasn't worked for all types of headaches, or like the nurse said, you need more than one treatment for it to be effective. You have to have more than 15 headache days in sort of the next 3 months in order to get another treatment. These treatments are really expensive, and the NHS, as with most of the NHS, don't like to fork out unnecessary money. So I have to prove that I've had the headaches in order for me to get a further treatment. I don't know where I stand on more treatments after that. But if this doesn't work, or if the next round doesn't work, chances are it's probably not going to work at all. So they're going to have to rethink and do something else for my headaches, which are actually really debilitating. They're really disabling. People don't realise, people that don't suffer from headaches and don't suffer from very bad headaches, don't realise just how disabling they can be. So I had a lot of hopes on this treatment working. It's probably too soon to tell, and like the nurse said, I probably am going to need another set of injections to really get a benefit from this. All in all, it wasn't a horrendous experience. I've had much worse surgical procedures done, believe me. So this wasn't too bad. It wasn't too painful. I've not really suffered any after effects from it. My head was a bit itchy in the evening. I had to be careful not to touch my face too much, because you can move the Botox around so it won't work, it won't be effective. My forehead is still quite wrinkly, but not as wrinkly. Just raise my eyebrows at you there. Not as wrinkly as it was. So I have noticed some freezing of my forehead. Not much, but a little bit, and obviously none around my eyes, which is where you can really see my age. So I would recommend you getting this treatment if you can, to see if it works for you. It might not work for me, but at the moment, one treatment in, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm feeling hopeful that maybe it will stop my severe migraines. We'll have to wait and see. So thank you for watching my vlog all about my migraines and Botox treatment for them. Hopefully it was a little bit informative, and if you're thinking of having this treatment, hopefully it will help. I can honestly say it wasn't really that painful. Some of the injections sort of my temples and here on my face, and the ones in the back of my neck and the back of my shoulders were painful, but the rest weren't too bad, like a little scratch similar to an injection. The pain is there and then gone within seconds. Some of the ones in my head, I'm not very thick skinned, I've got a hard skull. Some of the ones in my head didn't really hurt too much. So I can honestly say it's not a treatment that you should be afraid of. Certainly don't be worried about getting it. And if you are afraid of needles, she stands so close to your face and you can't see the needle, you can't see it going in, you can't see it at all. So really it's not something to worry about, it's not something that's painful. So definitely don't be afraid of this treatment, and if you get it, I really hope it works for you. In the meantime, you can visit my blog at www.estellosaurus.co.uk. I've been writing about gluten-free burgers at Hubbox recently, so that's one to check out. And there'll be an upcoming blog about my spring outfits. So again, thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, or if you've got any advice for this, or if you've had Botox treatment and it worked for you, please get in touch below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like to hear more from me, please click the subscribe button. I'd love for you to get involved with this channel. If you've got any suggestions on what you'd like me to talk about on this channel, related to disability, related to my disability, maybe how I cope, how I get on, or anything about disability in general, really, please get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love some suggestions as to what I could do with this channel. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.